Good, thank you very much. Welcome to everybody to the Heston Cranford Area Forum. Those of you who took part in the early part, the informal part of the meeting where you spoke to the stall holders with your queries or your questions, I hope you had an opportunity to discuss your issues and get suitable responses. I know some of the councillors were here earlier as well, so hopefully you had a chance to chat with your local councillors regarding any local issues that you wanted to present to them. We're now going to move on to the formal part of the agenda and commence the meeting. So agenda item number 1, apologies for absence. We have apologies from Councillor Harleen Atwal here, Councillor Vikram Gariwal, Councillor Amritpal Maan, and Councillor Ghazala Butt. Are there any more apologies? I don't think so. I think otherwise everybody's in attendance. Are there any declarations of interest or any other communications from members? Okay, so I've got a couple of things to mention here. But before I do, can I request that anybody that came here in a vehicle and parked in the Heston Community Centre need to make sure the car is registered, otherwise you will get a ticket. There is a iPad type of thing just below the clock in the foyer. Make sure your vehicles are registered. The other communication which I want to bring up fairly quickly at this stage is regarding some petitions. So I just wanted some of the residents who are from perhaps the Gresham area to know that the consultation for a CPZ on Gresham Road was conducted in December, and us as local ward councillors are waiting for the outcome of that consultation in due course. The second issue is the petition regarding CPZ for Alderney Avenue. That process of consultation will start on the 26th of January and will end on the 23rd of February. So any interested parties there, can I make a request that you make sure that during that consultation period you submit your observations and ideas and suggestions. Now we'll move over to agenda item number 3, but before we do that, I've just got a notice that I must read out. Whilst this meeting is not being live streamed, it is being recorded and will be published on the Council's YouTube channel after the meeting. Members of the public are asked not to discuss personal details during any contribution to this meeting. Agenda item 3, minutes of the meeting held on the 7th of October 2025. Members will have in front of them the minutes from that meeting. Can I request that members agree that the minutes are a fair reflection of that meeting? Yes, Emma?
We just need to do the one name change. It's got Ragwinder Sidhu and it should be Emma Sidhu.
Noted. Are there any matters arising that council wish to notify me about? Okay, I have just a couple of observations, a couple of typos. So page number 9. It's regarding the TfL issue about reduction of the 111 bus route. I think the word used there would be when asked that TfL reduced the 111 bus route service. And the other correction I was notified by was that the bullet point 4th from the bottom of page 9 should include that it should say as follows: an Alderney Avenue resident called for traffic calming measures, called traffic calming for the local side roads near the Great West Road adding that Alderney Avenue and Jersey Road was being used as a speeding shortcut. So we're adding the word Alderney Avenue. On the top of page 10, under open forum, the second line there reads Quaker Lane, Isleworth, and I think that should have said Cranford Lane. So that, do you recall that conversation? Is it Cranford Lane? Do you agree? Okay, it's Cranford Lane. That's it. Okay, apart from that, can I approve the minutes are correct? Thank you very much. Right. No, not Isleworth, no. Okay, so before we move on to agenda item number 4 and have some presentations, there was something that came to my attention regarding the bus lane system that's going to be consulted on in Heston. And I'm bringing it up now as I consider it to be a matter of urgency. It really does need to be notified to the residents who are concerned about it. So I've requested officers to take the opportunity to come to this meeting and let you know what is being proposed and make sure that you have an opportunity to have an input in the consultation phase. Some of you, I think, already have attended the meeting that I attended at the St. Leonard's Church. I think it may not be a judicious use of time if you reiterate already the conversations that you've had there, but if there's anything new you want to bring to the officers' attentions, you can do. But definitely during the actual consultation phase running, you must make your representations known. Right, so with that statement regarding the urgent business that I want to introduce at this stage, can I request that the officers, I think they're over there, right. So if you can please give a presentation on what you guys are proposing.
Right, technology. Here we go. Okay. Hello everyone, my name is Paul Robinson. I manage the capital projects and network management at Hounslow Council. And one of the projects on this year's programme is to look at consulting a new section of bus lane which is between Fern Close and Old Coat Drive, and it's around about a 350 metre section of proposed bus lane in the southbound direction. You'll be familiar with bus lane which is near to the church, just south of Old Coat Drive going towards the new Heston Road junction. So there's quite a lot of background to this. There's been quite a few studies over the past 3 years, so I've put a presentation together for you to give you a bit of historical context to this and where we are. Just a few key dates, as mentioned by the councillor earlier. The consultation has been active since, I believe it's the 15th of December, isn't it, Albert? And it closes on the 26th of January, so that's on Monday, is that correct? And like was just mentioned, at the church there was a drop-in session the other week on the 12th of January. It's fairly well attended, and that forms part of some of the consultation responses. So the consultation is live, and so if anything comes from this meeting, you haven't made any representations, there's some forms down here where you can fill them in. It's online, it's very easy to find. You just put Heston Road bus lane proposal into Google, it will be the top hit on there, and then you'll find the consultation plans, all the information about why we're proposing, etc. It's all on there. It's a very easy read. So, without any further ado, I'll just give you a little bit of context to why we're doing this, and there'll be a good section at the end to ask me questions. So if you could just save them up till I've just gone through the key slides, I'd really appreciate that. Thank you. So a bit of history, really. Why would we be discussing this now? The existing issues and options. There's long delays to southbound bus journeys. It's the 120 service which is going north to south, south to north, as you know, on Heston Road, particularly in the AM and PM peaks. So this is all modelled, it's all mapped. If you're on the 120 bus in the AM peak There's two peak times, the school peak time and the general traffic peak time. They're about the same traffic volumes. It'll take you about 15 minutes to get on the borough boundary down to where the church is, just south of Old Coat Drive, DRU Heston Road. So there's inefficiencies, not just for buses, but for general traffic along that network. So initial option, possible bottleneck at the new Heston Road. There's a lot going on at that junction, as you're aware, where the War Memorial is. It splits, the 111 turns right, there's a bus stop opposite the War Memorial. There's long gaps between the different signal aspects, the south, the north side and opposite the church. So there's a lot going on that junction, lots of traffic movements. That's not within the scope of what we're discussing now, but it has been looked at, and we know there are efficiency issues at that junction. So it's not to be discounted, but it's just to be noted at this point in the context of what we're talking about. With that as well, because of the bus passenger journey time issues, a new southbound bus lane from Fern Lane to Old Coat Drive has been looked at in some detail within the council's highway department. So there's 3 reports which have been done over the past 3 years. The first one was done by a consultant called Steer, and that just looked at removing the southbound bus lane, the existing bus lane. Effectively what that found was if it was removed in the AM peak, there'd be a marginal increase, we're talking seconds, not minutes, in general traffic and bus journey times if it was removed in isolation, but it's marginal. For the rest of the day, the inter-peak periods, the afternoon peak, there was seen to be no benefit for general traffic or bus passenger journey times if it is removed. With all of these initiatives, you're sort of looking at forward planning things. You don't just do something for now, you're looking at what's going to happen in the future. And when you actually change the model, so you increase the general traffic by 5% or 10%, which is something we need to do when we model it, it showed a detriment to general traffic and buses to remove that section of bus lane. So just to put that into context, okay? But like I mentioned, sitting just south of that area is a lot going on with signals, bus stops, etc. And that has an impact in itself. That's the first thing. 2022, 2023, there's been some reports. One, the most extensive report was done within the team. We did it in the Traffic and Highways team. And that's a very comprehensive document. Preceding that was a consultant's report from Jacobs that just looked at the outline feasibility of could you put a bus lane in between the junctions we've discussed before, Fern Close and Old Coat Drive. So by doing that, that sort of led us into, yes, it's feasible, we need to look at this in more detail. And so they're the 3 reports that we've looked at up to date, and that's led to this consultation, which is, just so you're aware, this is all funded by Transport for London Bus Priority Network. It's not being used with council funding, it's all TfL funded. That's the report. Contingent on approving proposals, any funding for a scheme like this would be from Transport for London. It's just to give you the nuts and bolts of how these things progress and how they're funded. So on here, you can see a diagram. I'm sorry if it's a bit small for those of you, maybe even at the front, but in the middle or the back of the room. But it just shows you where the proposed bus lane is, which is colour-coded in green, and then you've got the existing bus lane, as we discussed before, and just generally the directions. They're going south or to the north, and then Hounslow to the south. And the 111 would take you from the new Heston Yellow Road, westbound from there, or eastbound if you're coming from the opposite direction. So what's been feasible, looking at the detail of things, without losing any trees or without any negative impact on general parking provision along the network, is because there is down the middle of Heston Road lots of thermoplastic road markings and the occasional uncontrolled island crossing, that creates quite a lot of space if you can redesign it. So what's being proposed here isn't a reduction in general traffic capacity. That's marginal in terms of any change that cars would experience. It's creating a brand new lane, which would be, under the terms and conditions of Transport for London's bus lanes, if it progressed, would be a 24-hour bus lane that operates 7 days a week and would be only permitted for the use of Hackney carriage taxis, black cabs, cyclists, motorcyclists, and of course the 120 bus service. There's one bus service on this route at the moment. It's a major bus service. It's a very long route, isn't it, going up to South all the way down to Hounslow. So the road markings I mentioned, it said at the bottom there, you've got these sort of right turn pockets, turn right and left and things like that going north and southbound. So it's looking at that space. There's a lot of lovely mature trees along Heston Road. You may have noticed if you're local, there was a lot of site excavations just to look to see, is it feasible to get to this point to discuss something like this with you? And we can confirm with minor adjustments to the curb line, there won't be any reductions in footway width, so it's not going to be at the behest of pedestrians to create this space. And none of the mature trees, along the whole network, all the investigative work has shown that there wouldn't be any impact to tree welfare, with one exception. There's a tree which, irrespective of these proposals, where is it located exactly? Okay, by Rosemead School. Okay, and if you actually identify that tree, it's quite distinctive. It's actually bending over into the carriageway. So, in terms of its structural integrity, I think the arboriculture team has sort of condemned it anyway. But it's not any convenience for this. It actually, the way it's planted, it's going over the carriageway. So there's some issues with that tree anyway. So they're the main things. So what the scheme, in a nutshell, is a new lane which would get the bus with some priority ahead of a general traffic queue at the southern end, going to where, or closely near to where the southbound bus lane is at the moment. So it'll give a bit of bus priority, but because it's got taxis and motorcycles, etc. in it, that will create a balance to create extra lane capacity into that lane, and with the removal of the pockets, which give a bit of capacity to traffic to turn right and left from that road, it wouldn't have any negative impact on traffic journeys going north to south because it's balanced in that arrangement. It also give a good cycling provision, obviously, to go southbound because you'd be removed from the general traffic in the southbound direction only. This is a few notes here. We've done a parking beat analysis and looked at areas where there a parking provision, just so I can accelerate through this. I made a couple of notes, just let me read them rather than try and work them out from a plan. So the area that's most parked up is there's a row of cottages from 236 to 246, and to get the bus lane in at the southern end of these proposals, they would need to be reduced from, it's not actually marked bays, but 10 parking spaces to around about 5. We've assessed that 7 of the 10 are regularly used, okay? So there'll be a little bit of displacement we'd anticipate if that happened. Between Wheatlands to the Green, there's 9 available type spaces, about 9 times 5.5 metres, about the length. It's not marked bays. That would have to be reduced to 5, but we've accurately monitored that only 2 of them are used. So when you look at the change, there's local capacity for parking with some contingency. It's reduced, but there's no expectation that it would displace you beyond the local area if that happened. But there is a slight reduction in parking. It's just required because there's little pinch points. You can't get the right lane widths to then get the bus, the general traffic, past where a vehicle would obstruct in this type of arrangement. So that's parking, that's trees, and that's the tree at the bottom, which we mentioned already. Most of the W lines that are proposed are just because it's just to regulate the space. No one would parking them because it would obstruct the carriageway, but we just take the opportunity, if these proposals are approved, to obviously to make that, sorry. No, that's it. I'm not on that question now. But the general consultation plan's on there. It's a bit small, I think. We tried to rotate it, but we couldn't. But if there's any particular questions, then over to you.
Right. So mindful of the time and also how I've elevated this issue to under urgent business to come onto the agenda, and you've also got an opportunity to feed in your questions in the consultation phase. Can you please keep your questions short and sharp to the officer? Okay.
You mentioned that you modelled the impact of removing the existing bus lane. How was that modelled?
So I wasn't actually at the council, but I just know from modelling type exercises it would have been in this type of a format. So effectively what's done is an origin and destination of the bus moving from where it starts to where it ends will be calculated. That's called a base model, and you validate that base model so you've got accurate information about what's actually happening in real time. And then what you do is in the model, which is graphical with buses and cars on the screen coming down, you then substitute out the southbound bus lane to allow general traffic. So where they're prohibited at the moment, obviously pulling into the bus lane, the model will allow that it can split into two, and the bus could then join where there's currently a lane, but general traffic can go in there as well. And under that sort of modelling, it'd be something called a Linzig model. When they've done that and it goes through that arrangement, they can calculate the changes in the timings between any particular point along the network. It's calculated that way.
Okay, that's fair enough, but would it not have been better to just, for an experimental period of say 2 weeks, just remove the bus lane and see and measure? That would be a far more accurate measure.
Well, you can, but if by modelling it through that, we've got sort of empirical data that we can use without having the sort of network impacts at that particular point in time. That'd be quite risky, I think, if you just removed it. Of course, if a utility came in and had some sort of general impact on the network and that was available, then that would be convenient because then you could physically just assess it when it happened. But by doing the modelling exercise through this, we've got data which we can present. If people want to see it, it's available. And then we can show that any particular time in the day, every 10 minutes, every half an hour, every hour, what the change is in real times. It's modelled by the minute and by the hour. So it just captures everything very accurately. Obviously, there's some algorithms involved because it's on predictions, because it isn't actually changed. But that data reconciles very well to physical changes that, like you mentioned, you could trial on site. So, that's why we can validate these models and approve them.
Okay, thank you. Final question, very quickly. If you should implement this extension of the bus lane and you find it's a totally negative impact, will you be removing it?
So when a bus lane would go in, then clearly, as we've discussed in a certain level of detail, all of the information shows what the bus passenger journey time is now, and what would be a clear indicator of whether it's successful be what the bus passenger journey time is after it. You would very much hope in all the feasibility work that you'd know the answer to that before you did it, because there's a lot of detail to that. But clearly, if it was then calculated, because it would be monitored over a period after implementation, should it go in, that if that wasn't the case, then that's not going to benefit buses and general traffic, then it sort of defeats the object of what you've done. It'd be an expensive error, but that's why there's a lot of modelling, a lot of data, and I've worked extensively just personally on bus priority network schemes for decades, and you know the outputs when you actually do all the modelling exercises, and you know the benefits to doing it. But yes, if something's unsuccessful, if there are schemes, I haven't actually removed the scheme that I've ever been involved with putting in previously, and I'm part of a wider team. But if because they should stand the test of time and be fit for purpose when you develop them and deliver them. But obviously, if things aren't working and there's issues with them, then you'd remove them. But that would be an exceptional circumstance in my experience.
Right, if you can move on, please, now. Question at the back.
It's a question I asked earlier on when we spoke personally. The PTAL rating for the Heston area is very low because of our limited number of bus services. We're talking about making all of these changes for one bus route, which gets stuck on King Street in Old Southall, not in the stretch of road that we're talking about. If you want to have an outcome that really is going to make a benefit for the people of Heston, then it would be a dedicated cycle lane up in towards the existing cycle lane that was put in by Ealing Council last year along Merrick Road. So I'd ask you to relook at this and provide a safe cycle route up to the Crossrail at Southall Station, rather than this hybrid shared bus, cycle, taxi route. I don't see very many black cabs in Heston, so if it could be opened up to Ubers, I think it might have some merit, but not if it's just black cabs.
Thank you for those comments. Something that's important to note, because you mentioned cycling there, and Hounslow is a champion and a leader actually in cycle network infrastructure in outer London. I can map that because I've worked for all the councils in the southwest sector, and we've done extensive amounts of work, Cycleway 9, Cycleway 7, nearer to here on Southall Lane, Cranford High Street recently, and that trend is continuing on Route 6, Bath Road, Route 5, Staines Road. There's a huge amount of work happening with segregating cyclists throughout the borough and smaller schemes linking them. And something important to note on that, there's a lot of strategy behind that. We're not just doing the work in piecemeal and it's fragmented. So I will be sharing the cycle strategy document with you, which looks at all these routes to help commute Southall back to Hounslow. And there are good routes, they're mapped, they're aligned to TfL funding agreements, because that's where we get our money from for these cycle lanes. And you'll find that the bus priority improvements, should this be developed, would not be at the behest of cycling, because there'd be identified strategic routes and distributor routes linking cyclists going north to south, east to west, and west to east. So there's an important document that's been worked on for a couple of years. It maps all that, and it links not just into major cycleways, but quieter ways which link them together. But there's a lot of information on that, and like I said, I will share that with you in the next week or so. If anyone else wants that, then just contact our transport planning and highway teams, and we can share that more widely with you all.
Okay, thank you very much, officers. Thank you for taking the time to come to the Area Forum at short notice. I do appreciate it. But as I said earlier, the impact that this lane's going to have in Heston is quite considerable, and I wanted to make sure that the consultation is extensive as possible and that people are aware and have the opportunity to feed in. So, if you do have anything to say on the matter, do respond to the consultation, which is going to end on the 26th of January. Thank you very much. Right, now on the actual item which was on the agenda. So I've got agenda item number 4, Community Spotlight, Hope Church, and there's a presentation by Claire. Over to you.
Good evening. Thank you so much for having us with you this evening. I am Reverend Claire Clark, and I am the leader of Hope Church in Hounslow. We are one church, but we currently have 2 locations. You've got a little card and a map on the screen there. So one of our locations is in Hounslow Heath Ward, and the other in Heston Central Ward. And we're also looking with the London Diocese about doing some more work in the Cranford Ward. And some of you I recognise, and I know, and I've met you at various things. Some of you might not know anything about what we do at Hope Church Hounslow. So we're going to have a little video, which I hope will just be a nice break for us this evening to show us a little bit about the work of Hope Church. we go. Hopefully that gives you a little glimpse into some of what we do in the community. We are just a local parish church. You'll have a parish church in pretty much every parish in the country, and we are a group of people, Christians, who believe that we are called to love God and love our neighbour as we love ourselves. And so we really try to be a blessing to our community, and we're involved in all sorts of ways of serving our community. We want to really be part of the community and a blessing to the community. And at the moment, we have about 80 volunteers who give up their time week in, week out to serve, from the tiniest little preschoolers right to our older people's lunch that happens every week. So just a few things to highlight of what we do. We run a community supermarket and 2 food banks, one at each of our locations. And we really feel like we want to respond to those who are struggling with poverty. But it's not just about giving food. We also have debt advice, we have holistic care, we have health advisors. Some people from the council's Back to Work come in with us. So we collaborate to look after people. And so often, I don't know if you've ever accessed a food bank, but your first time, it's really quite daunting to go in and say, I lost my job, or this has happened and I can't feed my family, or heat my house and feed my family. And Matthew asked me to concentrate on the winter warmers, and that is one of the critical things that we find each winter, that people particularly struggle in the winter because it's either the money to heat their house or the money to feed their families. And so we often see our numbers go up over the winter months. And our community supermarket, if you've been accessing Food Bank, which is completely free, anybody from any faith, any background, everybody is welcome. If you're struggling or you know somebody who's struggling within our postcode area, then we would love to serve them. And after you've come a couple of times, then we ask for you to get a referral so that we know from a school or a doctor. We've got 127 referral agents at the moment who refer to our food bank to support you, and then you can come for quite a few visits. And then if you've been coming for a long time, we refer you onto the community supermarket, and you start by paying £5 each visit, but you choose off the shelves up to £40 worth of shopping. So our church, we apply for grants, our volunteers give really generously to be able to help feed those in need. We also find in the winter months our Good Company lunch, which is for over 50s. I am actually now just over 50, so I could actually go. But it's particularly not just for those in poverty, but often, especially in the winter, there's so much more isolation. You don't go out so much, you're stuck in your houses. And many people, this is the only meal they eat each week with other people. And it's such a delight to welcome everybody in. We have a little exercise class, first of all, for any who want to join in with that. We serve a hot meal every time, and time to chat and refer people if they need signposting for various things. And it's become this wonderful community which is seeking to help this problem of isolation. You also will have seen lots of young people, so we do a lot of youth work. We see about 250 under 18s each week. We're in local schools, we're serving with football, with youth club nights, with cafe nights, all sorts of different events and activities for young people. Again, don't we believe that young people, this generation, need investing in so that they have all the opportunities ahead of them for living life to the full in their community. Many of them have received what's called Jack Petchey Awards, charities for their incredible work in our community as they get involved, as they serve, as they find their place in the community in all sorts of different ways. So it's been wonderful to develop children's work, youth work, older people's work, and to help those in need. So that's a little bit of our kids' work. We run a holiday club. Our holiday club's just coming up this February half term. It's got a little charge to it, although we do help people, if anybody can't afford to send their children, we do help with bursary places. Lots of fun during the half term. We run light party in the October half term. We have our play cafe for under 5s each week, and our kids' church. That's a bit about our youth work, our wonderful footballers. We currently have 123 teenagers on our books to play football. We're involved in all sorts of tournaments. They have so much fun. And again, it's building community together. So just a couple of stats to finish. In 2025, we just got this last week, we did our final count up. We were able to provide 9,055 people with food in our community. Remember, we're just a little church with some volunteers. So incredible work that the food bank do. We've also had 70 children and young people attending weekly at the Football Academy. At least 45 over 50s received the hot meal each week at Good Company. We're seeing at least 40 refugees each week at our Hope Haven drop-in, giving them some support, some care, helping them fill out forms. We have English as a foreign language for them. And we have 24 young people at the moment attending our weekly youth clubs. So that's just a little bit about what we're doing, and we would love to invite you. If you know young people, children, older people who are feeling isolated, they're so welcome. Everybody is welcome to come along, and we'd love to continue to serve our community, and hopefully in the years to come, London Diocese will be able to do more of this stuff in the Cranford ward as well. Is that all right, Matthew? Yes, thumbs up. Thank you so much for having us.
Okay, thank you for that very, very thorough presentation, and it's fantastic all the work that you're doing. And I think you said you're going to open a third, so a franchise opportunity there. But may continue and thrive. And thank you very much for your presentation. We're now going to move on to the next presentation, and following on from the same theme about winter well-being, Meadowbank Community Hub update.
Good evening, everyone. My name's Claire Parker, and I'm very happy to be here this evening. I work in the Communities Division at Hounslow Council. I'm here to talk to you this evening about Meadowbank Community Hub and Library. And here it is. So many of you who are local residents will know that for 20 years or so, we have had a fantastic adult education centre at Meadowbank in Cranford, just behind the Ibis Hotel. And it has the most fantastic facilities. It is really, really well equipped. It has a really fantastic adult education offer there, and it has done for many, many years. However, it was seen really as a bit of a hidden gem. A lot of people said that they weren't quite aware of it, or people had been and taken part in courses and things, but really there was a feeling that we could do more with the centre. And there's one wing of the centre that used to be kind of underused. It was a yoga studio, and I like yoga, I'm sure a lot of people do, but the yoga courses were only on there a couple of times a week. And we had a look at it, and we thought, actually, there's more that we can do with this centre to make it work really hard for our community and to really deliver something fantastic for our residents. So about a year ago, I came to this area forum to talk about a plan that we had to deliver a new community hub and library at Meadowbank using that underused part of the building. And I'm really delighted to say that I'm here this evening to say that we did it. We opened Meadowbank Community Hub and Library in October of last year. It was opened by the leader and some of his cabinet colleagues at an opening event. And we have now got the centre running. It's a 6-day-a-week offer. We've moved what was Cranford Library just down the road into Meadowbank. We've got 8,000 books in that library. We have got a really full community programme. We've got computers so that people can come in and use the computers. They can use the printers and the scanners. We've got lots of books in community languages. We've brought in new books that support the adult learning programme. And the adult learning programme goes on, and it goes on in full. So the furniture that we've put into Meadowbank is all really flexible. So it's on casters, and we can move it across to one side, which means that we can still use that studio for yoga, for dance, for drama, and all of those other things. Just upstairs from that big studio that I just showed you is a new dedicated children's library, and it is beautiful. It's fantastic. It's brand new. It's got thousands of books for children and young people. There are all sorts of things that go on in that library. It's not just about reading, although obviously reading is great, and it is the year of reading, by the way, guys. We have a chess club, we have family games time, we have story time. We also have facilities for baby weighing. So if you have a child, a baby, you can come and you can weigh your baby there and make sure that it's meeting all of its requirements around sort of health and well-being. And then we also have a buggy park outside. So as I mentioned, the children's library is on the first floor. We've got a lift up to get up there, but we've also got a buggy park outside, which is fully covered so that it can be used all throughout the year. And then we've got a range of support from all kinds of partners in the community. We've got citizens' advice. We've got our housing team who deliver a drop-in so that if you're perhaps a council tenant or you're a resident and you want some advice around housing, or you want to talk about your tenancy or your council property, you can come and talk to a housing officer. We've got Elays that provides an independent advice service, and in particular has a range of community languages spoken to, in particular, help people who are from West African communities. We have the health outreach team, so they do things like vaccinations. They do blood pressure checks. We have Crosslight, who offer debt and money advice. We have Job Centre Plus. You'll be aware of them. They obviously provide employment advice, but also help with benefits. We have Work Hounslow and Healthy Hounslow. We also have a really rich and full family half-term activity programme. This is really cool. So you'll see those photos there. This was from the programme that we offered in October half-term last year. It's all kinds of things. It's pottery, it's storytelling, it's nature. There are lots of STEM courses, and the idea is that parents and carers can come along with their children and take part in those activities. They're all free and low cost, and I would say that if you do want to go to that, you do need to book in advance to make sure that you get your space on those courses. We've got another one coming up in February of this year. And, of course, we've still got that really full adult learning programme, and the facilities there are fantastic. There is a full kitchen, a professional level kitchen where we teach everything from cake design and baking, food hygiene courses for those people who want to go into work in the food industry. There's a pottery studio. The pottery studio is really cool. It's very, very well equipped, and there's a kiln on site so that people can obviously bake their pottery. And really quite a number of people who've gone to do those courses around catering and pottery, etc., have gone on to open small businesses in the local area as well. And we've still got the drama, the yoga, the photography, and all of those other things in the wider offer. And the idea is that we're bringing people together from all sorts of different places. And then there's an opportunity so people can come in and they'll do their learning, but they can also hang out in the learner lounge. They can spend some time in the library, and there's an opportunity to connect and to use that as a warm space, as well as all of the adult learning and so on. Oh, sorry, I had one more slide. So just to say, it's just down the road from the previous Cranford Library. It's just behind the Ibis Hotel on the A4. If you go to hounslowconnect.com/Meadowbank, you can find out more there about all of the different things that are involved in the programme, all of those things that are on offer. Chair, I'm very happy to take any questions, or I can wait for the open forum if there are any questions there.
I'll take it right now. Any questions from the floor?
The ideas you proposed sound really interesting, but I was curious about what's happening with the existing building.
Yeah, so the existing Cranford Library building, yeah. So that's obviously still just down the road there. At the moment it's being used as what we're calling the Cranford Adult Learning Pop-Up. And so for the next sort of period of time, in the medium term, it's being used to offer some additional adult education courses. So those courses, there was some pressure on adult education space in central Hounslow, and so that was a natural opportunity to put some additional classrooms in there. And then in the longer term, obviously, there would need to be some feasibility about what the offer is in the longer term.
Thank you.
Right, looks like there's no further questions. Thank you very much for your presentation, and I think there was a lot of uncertainty about what was happening at this hub proposal a couple of years back, but we can see that now it's come to fruition, and it definitely is a hub, and it's got a plethora of activities that residents can utilize. So thank you very much for your presentation. Moving on to agenda item number 6, the open forum. The open forum provides an opportunity for residents to share their ideas, debate local topics of importance, and voice their concerns to councillors and other key representatives of the council. House rules. Those participating in the open forum are asked to note that questions will be allowed by me at my discretion, and items submitted to the chair in advance of the meeting are always welcomed. Do we have any questions? No, okay. So I will allow one question per item, and the items on the main agenda, well, it's already done, let's leave that. A reminder that individual cases cannot be discussed at the meeting, but can be raised with the relevant ward member. So the open forum is now open. Questions from the floor. Hand went up right in the back there.
I'm not sure if this is the last area forum meeting before the local elections, but I wanted to ask if there was any statement around the various resignations, suspensions, defections, and reassure the community that we're still being actively represented by those people who have defected to other parties. I just think there's a concern in the community that Council Labour are in disarray, and there is a risk to everybody from that.
Right, regarding that, a couple of issues. We don't want to make this area forum of local issues and local interest. I can see where you're coming from in terms of the representation and by your local councillors. So as far as the Labour councillors are concerned, they're all hardworking and they're always at your disposal as far as I'm concerned. And I've heard nothing to the contrary to dictate that. Going forward, yes, the election's around the corner, and in due case, all the parties will put their manifestos to the electorate, and you can make your decisions accordingly. I think I have a hand going up. Okay. Any other questions? So,
Chair, and the opposition are available as well for the work.
Correction. Councillors are available. And if you have any, obviously, issues about your local council, you can always take that up with them directly. Yeah? But Councillor Karaman is right. All councillors, elected councillors, are at the service of the residents in the borough. Coming on to those two hands going up over there. So, gentleman in black.
Hello. Just moving on from what that gentleman just said, is that there's an article by Brentford TV, and I think it is an important thing to talk about here, because this is my only chance to do it, is that the amount of councillors that have family members, sisters and brothers, wives, and spouses that have been potentially selected if the May general elections do go ahead. So I just wondered what the council have got to say about that, because from what I've seen, if it's true, it's not a good look. And I think that what the gentleman just said there, it doesn't look good. It doesn't fill me with any sort of faith that I want to vote for Labour, given that I know this is local elections, and you do represent an element of central government elections, that we have a rise of reform, otherwise known as fascism, with Pradeep Singh and his cronies in the general election. So I think that you should look at that and see what that looks like and do something about it, or explain about what that looks like. Okay, I think it would be useful, so in future, I mean,
it's remiss of me to not mention it. If you can just give your name before you ask a question so we know.
My name's Paul.
Paul, okay, Paul. So again, you're drifting into that political sphere again about who to vote for or not to vote. This is not a hustling.
You represent the Labour Party. That is politics.
No, this area forum is for local issues. It's not for political canvassing. So this question that you've asked is not being entertained.
Can you tell me where I can find out about it then, please?
When the manifesto comes out, you can make your decision as you see fit. Next question.
I just want to ask you to look at it yourself as well.
Questions from the floor. So that gentleman on the left there.
My name is Salvador Pereira. I've heard a lot of been discussed regarding the church activities, the Cranford community services. It's very lucrative. But my question is, what we have done for the safeguard of young people on the road, or what council have done. As you have seen lately, a young girl has been groomed, a young teenager has been stabbed to death, and today one incident just happened on High Street. With this in mind, I have come up with an innovative charter 5-point safety and security plan for Hounslow and Heston area, if you like to have a look. And I want the all sitting councillors plus Metropolitan Police plus take the local communities in action or in consultation to save the young souls and not to have more young teenagers that happening in our borough. And looks like our borough is really not safe. So what have you done?
There's a lot going on there. I think the best thing to say to you at this point is that some of these issues are already in the public domain, and some of these issues are under investigation by the relevant council bodies or the police bodies, and something will come through in due course and public statements will be made to address that. I think some public statements already may have been made. I'm not too sure about that, but if you allow me the opportunity, Sava, I can get back to you on the specifics that you were talking about.
Yeah, with that, sorry to continue my question. I do have a 5-point program. Do you want me to read the program or you want to have a look at it?
That's not necessary. What I would suggest you do, if you can forward that 5-point program to me, and we can have a discussion after this meeting.
No problem. I mean, it's better, it's very important, I think, the councillors in consultation with the local communities, which is very important because there are parents here, they have young children. I do have young children who are teenagers. I'm concerned about my boys if they go on the street. So as the other parents will be definitely concerned. Something has to be done by the council, and with consultation or with the help of the Metropolitan Police, I think for the safeguard of our youth in near future. I mean, we have talked all good things, but for the safety, nothing has been talked. And I thought of it because without safety, doing all of this is pointless.
You will get a response regarding your 5-point plan.
Furthermore,
that's enough. I think I've got the gist of I get the passion. I know you're concerned, and I get it, all right? So the best thing for you now is to share that information with me, and I will get a response to you regarding the issues that you've mentioned. We need now allow somebody else to ask the question. Can I have the mic to somebody else, please?
See, half of the councillors are not here.
Can you please hand the mic to Matthew? Thank you very much. Right, we had a hand right at the back, and then I'll come to the front. Sorry, I got you two there. Right at the back, and then we'll come to the front.
we'll, so I think we'll sort of divulge away from the political spectrum. I think a lot of people here would be aware that there's... Okay. There's currently a planning application that's been submitted to the council in regards to the Heathrow estate, which is right off the A312. It's a 98-page planning document that has been submitted, and it's for a 48 megawatt data centre that, if it does go ahead, will be constructed within Cranford. And I think the interesting part here is we would like to know is, obviously the council has been in talks with the owner of the Heathrow estate. This will likely create a lot of issues going forward because it's a complete redevelopment of the site. It's right on the side of the A312. We already have a lot of congestion, a lot of traffic issues. What is being done in terms of working with TfL to get this put into motion if this does go ahead, which at the moment it looks like it will. And also, at the moment, the adjacent roads to the Heathrow estate have issues with parking, where you've got Cranford Primary School right next to the estate. You have issues with people parking and just going to Heathrow or catching the bus or working in neighbouring buildings, etc. So I just want to know what's happening with the data centre. There was a open consultation with the developers where you could come and ask questions, which was a bit vague, and the planning documents in relation to this on the council portal are just vague. They're open to interpretation, they're very broad. We want to know from the council's perspective what's being taken into account, as if this development does go ahead, it will cause major disruption along the A312, and it's a data centre that is being built in the middle of a community that's got neighbouring open spaces, etc. Thanks.
Okay, thank you for your question and observations regarding a data centre. Councillor Rajaban.
So, thank you, Gopri, for the question. You'll appreciate that this is not a matter that local councils, these councils necessarily will make a decision on. It's hands over the planning authority. Just to correct something that you said at the start of your statement, the developer is a private developer. They've not been in talks with the council. There's no agreement between the council and the developer to develop it. They own the land. They are able to bring forward proposals. They have sought to brief me as leader of the council on the proposals, but there is plenty more consultation that they need to do, not least the statutory consultation that goes with the planning application. The comments that you've made just there, I would encourage you to put in as representations, which will get added to the report that goes to committee. They are still early. I'm aware that they've been talking to the school that you reference as well, and they've made some amendments to their design work in terms of landscaping and buffering with the school, and obviously it's up to the school if they wish to make further representations on it. I won't speak for TfL because we're not TfL. They are a statutory consultee on this application. And so they will put in their comments as they see fit based around traffic modelling. I mean, you saw a bit of that in terms of what we do as a council, but TfL obviously have their own methodology as well. Ultimately, decision will not be taken here. It will be taken by the planning committee based on planning considerations, and that's set down by law. But you know, if there are residents that are concerned about this development, I would encourage you to submit your representations in the way that you should do. And forgive me, I don't think it's fair on any of us councillors to give an opinion on what we think on that, notwithstanding the chair is a member of that planning committee.
Thank you. Next question, please.
Hi, my name is Ines. I'm a local resident. I'm worried about the parking because on Vicarage Farm Road, especially from that roundabout to another one, it's very limited space. But the problem is, the drivers, I don't know for what reason, they decide to park on the sidewalks, on the, where people walking. And so many times, especially when we have so many children classes here, and so many times children just run out through the gates and the car just drive on the sidewalk. What can we do to stop them? Because traffic officers, they can't do much. And I told them so many times, come at that time, but they can't do nothing much. What can we do?
Okay, Anissa, I think the issue about illegal street parking can be addressed and should be addressed in areas like you've mentioned, especially if they're near schools. It probably has a higher priority. I would urge you on an issue like this, I think Councillor on my left is raring to go. If you touch base with him, and he can then chase it through to make sure effective enforcement action is taken on that particular site or it's investigated. Councillor Garbal, would you like to say anything?
Yeah, thank you, Chair. Definitely we can look into it, and I'm ready to have a chat with you later on, before you go, and I'll see what... You can't hear me? I can have a word with you and we can discuss this, and I'll take the notes wherever this is applicable. I will try my best legally if we can reinstate all this. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Garawal. Right to the front now. So we've got two people there at the front.
Thank you, Chair. My name is Jim Wynne, and I reside in a council bungalow in Heston West. And I was worried that I was going to miss the beginning of the meeting, but thank God I made it all. But it's nice to see the turnout tonight from councillors in Heston West, which is my constituency. I have written individually to two of the three councillors, but unfortunately I haven't got the response that I need and deserve. So I was wondering afterwards I could see one or two of them generally, an open, nothing hidden or anything like that. But it's nice to see Councillor Rajawat. Nice to see him here tonight. That's all I really wanted to say at this stage.
Okay, Jim, thank you very much. I'm sure the councillors will be more than willing to have a chat with you after this meeting. Next question from... Yeah.
Hi, it's Navdeep Deol from Heston Action Group. We, I think, all understand from looking at the developer's website in relation to Rectory Farm that the proposals that they have, and I appreciate there's no planning application, involve an open cast mine for 12 years, significant amounts of dust, over 200 lorries a day, no guarantee to create parkland at the end of it, and significant environmental disruption and pollution for the local community. I think we can all accept that's a serious issue. When we've raised the issue at the last two forums, we were told councillors couldn't express a view because of their role in the planning committee. We took guidance from Councillor Lal, who correctly advised us of the rules, so we haven't written to any of the councillors on the planning committee, and we're not looking for their views. But we have written to all the other councillors in the area, and we have flagged that despite the fact that we are repeatedly told that there's no development, nothing is happening, nothing to see here, there's no planning application. In June last year, there were two green belt assessments published by Hounslow Council, by the planning department. In September, a P decision notice was issued, quite detailed P decision notice by Hounslow Council, shortly before the last area forum, where we were told that there was no update. And then on the 8th of October, again before the last forum, there was a statement of common ground between Hounslow and Hillingdon. And I won't go into the detail of any of that, but we've shared the detail of that with those of you not on the planning committee. And to be honest, at the moment, the only response we've had, acknowledgement we've had, has been from Councillor Malik, who has confirmed he's received it and confirmed his position that he supports the community in relation to that. I am not asking the rest of you for a view here, those of you not on the planning committee, of course. All I would ask is please can you respond to our emails on an issue of such great importance to the local community. And I understand that planning decisions, a planning application hasn't been made, but the developer has published plans on its website. It's held 2 meetings with the community. It's in detailed engagement with council departments. So it doesn't cut the mustard when we're told there's nothing happening, because stuff is happening in the background, the community is not involved and updated, and the window for us to make comments on such a big proposal that will affect everyone in Cranford and Heston West and Hounslow, our views, we're not going to have sufficient time to share our views on such a detailed big proposal. If it's a statutory consultation period, Councillor Rajawat, it's very limited. That's if it gets published, because as we know from recent big planning developments, the notices don't go up, notices do not go to people's houses. You've heard that before in relation to other planning issues. So all I say is, irrespective of your views, not you on the planning committee, but everyone else, irrespective of your views, please check your email, please respond to your email. If you can't give a view on your email, fine, but please acknowledge your email, acknowledge our interest, acknowledge the importance of the issue, and help us enter into social dialogue with the developer and with the council departments. That's your role.
Okay, Navdeep, thank you for your comments on the Rectory Farm. Rest assured, I think you've flagged up this issue on a number of occasions, so it's definitely on the radar of all the councillors in Heston West, Heston Central, Cranford, and definitely in Heston East. And Councillor Karamat Malik has already said that he will be championing the cause and keeping a BDI on developments. As far as councillors responding to emails, I really can't comment on that. That's for each individual councillor to. It is a big project, and I think you're rightly concerned about the impact it's going to have, and we as local councils will be mindful of residents' concerns and try to articulate and mitigate should that plan come to fruition. That's all I need to say on the matter. Are there any other questions? Okay, so.
Hello, so in the last, as you mentioned, in the last few meetings, the response has been noted, and at this meeting, I'd like to pick up on a couple of points that were made regarding the conduct of our local representatives. Now, I understand that this meeting is for local issues, and I appreciate that, but I think that we mustn't distract ourselves with local issues and ignore the fact that there's a bigger issue at play, and that is the conduct of some of our councillors, many of them, with concerns about nepotism, concerns about non-response, and I think that this issue about Rectory Farm should be brought to this meeting. We should be discussing it. It should be presented to us by our local representatives. We should not be in the dark about this, and so it's very easy in this environment to get distracted by other issues, and for our local representatives just to, sort of like dismiss bigger points, because they either don't want to get involved in it, or they have got nothing to say on it, and their non-response is showing that we're left in the dark on such a big issues. I'm worried about the future, about reform coming in, and what I want from Labour councillors, I want them to be explaining to us why we should be voting for Labour, and actually setting an example for our community, because we cannot afford for reform to get in because of complacency of Labour councillors.
Okay, you've raised a couple of issues there, so I'll go back to what my response that I gave to Navdeep. The Rectory Farm is definitely on the agenda, and all your local councils are acutely aware of the importance of that site and what happens to that site and the impact that site's going to have on the surrounding area, all right? So make no mistake, your councils are aware. If you have a particular problem with certain councillors, you can always refer the matter to the monitoring officer at the council, right, on that issue. In terms of political engagement, this area forum is not for political grandstanding. So it's for local issues which you've rightly brought to our attention, and we'll take that matter forward. Right, so any more hands going up? Take questions from the floor only. Oh, sorry, you wanted to, sorry. Can you just allow Councillor Malik, go on quickly.
Right, regarding this, I have wrote an email to one of the concerned officer. He responded, and there's no planning permission at all at the moment. And I have responded back to the action group. So I have no idea if there have been any planning permission or not. So as far as I know, that's the response I have.
Thank you for that clarification, Councillor Malik. So I think there was a hand in the middle, and then we'll go one to the back there.
Yeah, I just wanted to pick up from what Navdeep and Jasmine had said. I mean, we as the residents of Heston East, in relation to what's going on at Rectory Farm, I think we do have the right to know if there are talks that are in process with the developers. I think we need to know what's going on. And I have to put you again on notice. It's not a political thing. It concerns our community and their livelihoods. I don't know how many, I certainly know the one of you live here, but I don't know how many of you live in the Heston area. For us, these things are very important. We have the right to know right now. If you have information, albeit like, that you're not going to pursue it or whatever, the policy decisions are going to be made at a later date. But we do have the right to know what's going on in our area. Thank you.
I agree with you. You definitely need to have the right to know what's going on in your area. And once we have that information, as I said earlier, we will share that information with you and we will discuss the topic when it's timely. And Councillor Karamat Malik's already mentioned, as yet, still no application. All right? So, absolutely right to discuss it. Going right to the back now. Matthew, please.
Thank you. I just wanted to highlight a concern amongst members of a Heston Action Group committee. We've been trying to engage with James with regards to the new arrangements for waste and recycling for flats above shops for the last 7 months ahead of the simpler recycling legislation coming into effect in beginning of April. We've had absolutely no response in 7 months, and we have volunteered for the last 8 years picking up the rubbish in our streets, and it is demoralizing and frankly insulting that we have been left out of any discussion around the arrangements. The public still have no idea what's going to happen from the 1st of April, and there was a disaster a number of years ago when the waste and recycling arrangements were changed under Amrit Mann's tenure because there was a lack of communication, and it looks like the same thing is going to happen all over again. So I'm just asking you if you can please get the officer to respond and to engage with us, because it is us residents who have to live with filthy streets.
Hello, Michael.
Right. 1 second, Councillor Carroll. 1 second. I think you may remember that the officer made a very, very good presentation at the last area forum, and I and my fellow councillors were particularly excited about the rollout of the project under his stewardship regarding fly tipping and waste management. So I'm disappointed to hear from you that there seems to be a lack of engagement, and fortunately for us, we've got the lead member here, so Councillor Garwal is going to say a few words.
Hi Michael, how are you? If you remember, going back maybe 8 weeks ago, James did send you an email requesting you guys for a meeting. Until today, we have received no answer from you guys. As far as fly tipping is concerned, it's a very serious issue. It's not only an issue for Hounslow, it's a national issue today, because the residents of the area have got a behavior problem, and people today are not feeling proud of their surroundings. And we are taking every step to bring down the fly tipping in our area. We are introducing heavy fines. We are even opening a spaceway booking system. And we are even trying to give one bulky waste collection once a year free to residents. This is all being discussed, as well as we will be introducing skips in areas where there is a lot of fly tipping. Fly tipping has reduced, right? And we have issued 82 FPNs since the new fly tipping was introduced in April 2025. So we are on track, and we are doing, as far as recycling is concerned, above shops. We have identified all the shops, how many flats are there, as well as we have got different solutions for different areas, because all the flat areas are not the same. And as far as food collection is concerned, we are collecting 68% at the moment, and we intend to reach that to 99% by 2026, April. Yeah. So I'm still waiting for a reply from you guys, and we are ready to discuss this with you across the table.
Look.
Yeah.
Right, Michael, if I may, yeah. So I think clearly there seems, because I'm reading the minutes from the last meeting where Jim actually reached out to you guys as well and said he's more than willing to liaise with you guys. Clearly there's kind of a miscommunication going on, so in future, if you do email Jim about waste recycling, you can either copy me in or copy the lead member in, and we'll make sure you get a response. And we have a digital trail, therefore, to avoid any misunderstanding going forward. What I suggest may I suggest that you please forward that particular email to Councillor Garrywal. All right? Any further questions from the floor? Anybody who hasn't asked any questions? Okay, lady.
Good evening, everybody. I've got one community issue which is really bugging everybody at the moment. The safety and security for the young children is coming across to the organizations, to the parents, to everybody. So I would like to request the council and councillors to look into the issues seriously about the Hounslow West area, and please do something about it to save and secure the future of the younger children. Thank you.
Again, a very timely question, and it goes back to what Mr. Salvador was saying a little bit earlier on. A very, very pertinent issue to be asking at this particular time, and I'd like to invite Councillor Rajawat to say a few words.
Yeah, I agree with, thank you, Chair. Completely agree with you, Shanjit. It is an important issue. I would implore you to look at a report called the Youth Offer Report. So we've engaged with young people both in school settings but also in care settings as well. Across the borough, we had 2,000 responses to that. That consultation closed late last year, and we're now looking at that and looking at how that will shape our youth offer. So it's something like yourself that we take very, very seriously. We aren't a gang borough, but it is a very, very fine line between not being a gang borough and becoming a gang borough, and that's where things do slip. So we're keen to nip that in the bud and look at what the provision is. Early indications, and I don't have the exact answers just yet because we're still looking at that, there is a lot of provision out there for young people. It's just about signposting and trying to bring things together. And actually, one of the hallmarks of our community is that they are very good once you know that there's a provision that exists and signposting that. We need to use you guys a little bit more. We need to do a little bit more ourselves. But as I say, we're very early days. We're still looking at some of the feedback. There may be some changes that we need to make in terms of our offer. But you will know, as a voluntary sector organisation, that actually we've got a very strong voluntary sector, and so we must use them in a better way as well. So, all of that as well, but it's a point well made.
Okay, thank you for the response, Councillor Rajawat. We really need to move on. I think anybody who hasn't asked the question first. Okay, so.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. Just one point regarding communication, and Pankaj Mali, as you know, whose aunt tragically passed away in the fatal road accident. Two linked petitions. One email was sent by Pankaj on the 17th of December. Unfortunately, no reply. I have followed up and CC'd our local councillors, both for Heston East and Osley and Spring Grove. So, again, appreciate some sort of, response regarding that. I know you have updated us with regard to that this evening privately, Councillor Lau, thank you. The other point, with regard to Brentford Football Club and the community engagement group meetings, as part of the Section 106 legal agreement, there should be a chairperson appointed just to monitor and see that everything runs smoothly. That has not been the case. I wonder if that is something that could be kindly looked into going forward. Thank you.
Okay, Ian, thanks. So two issues there. One, again, about some response regarding an email that you sent in December. I think if the other councillors in question had something to give back to you, to report back to you, they would have responded. So fortunately, I had a response before this meeting, which I shared with you earlier. So I'm sorry for the delay, but once we get a response, we share it with you. In terms of appointing a chair for the Brentford Community Engagement Committee, I think, again, if memory serves you right, it is part of the agreement that we had with them, and I don't see any reason why that cannot be revisited. And I think Councillor Rajawat wants to say a few words, but at the next meeting, we can definitely raise that, and I will support the desire for an independent chair. Councillor Rajawat, you want to say something?
So, to the best of my knowledge, there is a community engagement meeting coming up very soon. My understanding, the chair of that was Robert Gordon-Clark, who is independent of the club. So she presides and organises the meetings. Her replacement has been replaced, but she's not the chair. The chair is a gentleman called Robert Gordon-Clark, who is independent of both the club and any other interested party. So he's got long links to it. If that needs clarifying, Chair, I'm very happy to write to the club on your behalf and just ask them to clarify that. But that's to the best of my knowledge.
Okay, I think that would be helpful, and I've given the opportunity to people who haven't answered any questions. Is there anybody else who hasn't asked the question? Because I need to move on to the next part of the agenda item. Right, so there's no more questions.
Sharanjit made about youth provision, and I'm pleased to see that report's been done, Councillor Rajawat, and I'll have a read. There was an outstanding, I don't think the chap's here, but there was an outstanding question from one of the Cranford constituency members about the possibility of using the old library building as a centre for youth to use, and whether that could be considered. I know there'll be other considerations in play, which I think would really go well with the kind of provision for giving young people something to do. On that note, also, we're very aware that our friends over in the Hanworth Centre at Rise and Thrive, who are doing amazing work, not just in Hanworth and Felton, but right across West London, are really struggling, and they've had the tragic fatality there only last week. So anything that can be done to support them from the council perspective would very much be appreciated.
Last one, make it precise. Okay.
So one's just a quick one for Hounslow Highways. So one of the activities of Heston Action Group is that we do a lot of reporting on the Fix My Street app, and I'm constantly telling people how that it exists in the first place and that they don't have to live with a mattress outside their house for 6 months because they don't know about it. Can we do something to promote Fix My Street on either Hounslow Matters or a leaflet or something? Because, you know, we're doing that work, and it's really frustrating we can't get to people, and most people that I speak to don't even know about it. And it would make our life a lot easier if they did report the fly tipping. And then, sorry, just one quick one about transport. It's to do with the bike parking, you know, at the start of roads. So we've noticed that there's a lot of these little bike parks that appear right at the entrance of roads, which is really dangerous as you turn into the road. It seems to create bottlenecks. So I don't know if anybody in transport can have a look at that and make, you know, have a look at that and see if something can be done about that. Thank you.
Okay, on the first issue, I'm going to invite Councillor Garawal to give a heads up on that particular issue.
Yes, Jasmine, sure. We are at the moment in the process of printing some leaflets, and in those leaflets it will be asking people not to fly tip, as it will be in different languages, in the local languages, as well as we are also on the leaflet, it will be there, how to report fly tipping in different ways. Yeah, it's going to be there. And these leaflets will be, in my opinion, be delivered sometimes in February. Yeah.
And thank you very much, Councillor. And on the second issue about the parking bays for the bikes, etc., yes, it's a valid point. Some of the locations, perhaps, at the start of junctions, etc., are not probably ideal. There are reviews built into the whole program, and I think on the last review, when I had representations regarding Alderney Avenue, we had that one removed from there. So you do have the opportunity to feed in through your local councillors any concerns you have about particular junctions, and when the time allows, and the councillors can make that representation to the officers to review that particular location. So there is a mechanism there, and you should share your concerns with your local councillors on that regard. Now we definitely need to move on to the next part of the agenda, which is the area action plan update. Again, I've got a bit of a dry note here, but whilst every effort is made to provide regular updates on the action plan items, it may not always be the case that an update is available in the Area Forum meeting. To find the most up-to-date information on the action plan, you can visit the Heston Cranford Let's Talk website, web pages. It's on the talk.hounslow.gov.uk/HCF. Having said that, we are going to get some updates from councillors present. So if we go round the clock, I think we'll start with Councillor Rajwat. Sorry? Oh, Axel wants to go first. Okay, sorry. Okay, Axel, over to you.
Thank you. So, an update on the Heston Farm Estate Playground. The estate improvement team continues to work closely with residents on Heston Farm to develop proposals for improving the estate playground. A letter will be sent to all residents on the estate this week with further details about the proposals. The council will be inviting residents and families to share their feedback and suggestions on the playground design and equipment preferences. Feedback can be submitted up until 13th of February. Once the consultation period has closed, we will review all responses and use this feedback to help finalise the plans. Subject to this, we will then look to schedule the works. And if you have any other questions, please contact Will Reeves. Thank you.
Okay, thank you for that update, Councillor Ahmed. Moving on to the next update I've got here, following the order now. Councillor Garawal, I think this one's... No. Oh, it's you now. Sorry. Okay, wrong one. Councillor Rajwat.
Thank you very much, Chair. So just an update on the outstanding issues around fly tipping and ASB on Rectory Farm. To be very specific, and just as an aide-memoire, this is the footpath that runs from Henley's Roundabout up to Brabazon. As a reminder, the bit near the petrol station and the bit on Brabazon are council land. That's why you see council lamps on them. The bit in the between is owned by the owner of Rectory Farm. A lot of work has gone on in the background to engage with the owner of Rectory Farm, and it seems like they are coming to the table and engaging with us in a much more meaningful way. Those that walk that path know it's very, very dirty. There's lack of fencing, and that's leading to both antisocial behaviour, vagrants and fly tipping. So in terms of the update, it is a smaller update at the moment because there is still more to be done. The owners have appointed an agent to look at options around fencing that pathway. They are working very closely with the council, and they've got some indicative fencing options which they are currently considering. There is a site visit due, I believe, in February, which I'm hoping council officers will be at, and all being well with weather and their own sort of phasing of work, hopefully work will begin there in March of 26. Beyond that, that doesn't end our engagement on that area. I think we will be having conversations as ward councillors with police around stepping up in patrols on the area, as well as our own community safety teams as well. But we want this work done first before we have those further conversations. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Councillor Rajwat. Yeah, a rather long-standing issue, and I'm glad to see it's seeing the light of day now and coming to an end and a final resolution. The next update I require is from Councillor Hira Dillon and regarding Avenue Park improvements.
Thank you. Avenue Park improvements. The Avenue Park steering group is now established and met in November 25 to discuss priorities and next steps for work. Work to improve Avenue Park continues to progress with a focus on enhancing biodiversity, strengthening community involvement, and securing funding to support future capital improvements. A recent successful funding application secured a grant from the Crane Valley Partnership, which will support baseline ecological and usage assessment alongside small-scale biodiversity enhancements. This work includes improvements to park entrances and will inform the development of a future concept, design, and master plan. Quotes for the baseline assessments are currently being obtained so that work can begin as soon as commissioning is complete. In terms of wider funding, Council submitted a neighborhood CIL bid in November for capital works, alongside some additional engagement activity. The bid focuses on priority such as new all-weather perimeter pathway, entrance improvements, benches, bins, and wider environment enhancement. Community engagement is already underway. Consultation sessions have been delivered with Berkeley Academy, who spent 2 days in Avenue Park getting to know the space. Over the coming weeks, Year 7 and 8 pupils from Cranford Community College will take part in a series of 7 sessions as part of their enrichment program. These sessions will gather young people's feedback and support improvements to the park compound, making it more usable as a community space. Partnership working continues to develop with Let's Go Outside and Learn, the Crane Valley Partnership, the local organizations exploring further opportunities around biodiversity projects, youth engagement, and community activities. Potentials potential collaborations with partners such as Geological Society of London and the campaign to protect rural England are also being explored. The steering group has also discussed ways to increase community use of work, including exploring a community cricket match and working with partners to support more sport, well-being, and inclusive community events. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Councillor Dillon. Good deal of work being undertaken there, and I'm aware that you attend the steering groups with the community as well, so I hope this work continues to deliver good results for the Cranford residents regarding Avenue Park improvements. The next update I request is from Councillor Gariwal regarding road safety and environmental improvements on Church Road. Over to you, Councillor Gariwal.
Thank you, Chair. Chair, since the last area form, the progress is update, which I'm going to give you, is a red route has been introduced from Cranford High Street to the entrance of the Heartlands Estate. And enforcement activity has begun with 2 PCNs already issued to vehicles parked on the red markings. Hounslow Highways continues to attend Church Road at least 3 times a week using a cage vehicle and specialist equipment to remove fly tipping and carry out cleansing. This remains one of the most frequently attended roads in the borough. Planning and enforcement has begun investigating businesses operating from the adopted section of the road, focusing on whether the land is being used in line with permitted purposes. 2 fixed penalty notices, which are FPNs, have been issued to local firms caught fly tipping following evidence provided by local residents. A detailed highway condition inspection has been carried out, and subsequent actions are scheduled for February. Next steps for future: a temporary road closure has been applied to manage 8 defects identified on the carriageway between the High Street and the nursery. While the road is closed, all vegetation both sides will be cut back, full cleansing of areas currently obscured by vegetation, and the completion of the red route until the entrance to the nursery will take place. Costings are being developed to address fly tipping of the concrete blocks. Exploring treatment options and cost of the privately maintained unadopted section of the road past the nursery to present to the landowner. Meetings will be arranged with a meeting was arranged on this Monday, but unfortunately one of the business companies could not attend, so I canceled the meeting because I want everybody to be present who is involved, so this matter can be resolved once and for all. The communication campaign will be highlighting ongoing monitoring, enforcement, and maintenance activity on Church Road. A multi-stakeholder action group will be established to explore additional short and medium-term solutions for the Church Road and similar locations across the borough. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Councillor Garawal, for that update. And again, coordinating with various officers, council departments and agencies to get resolution on the issue on Church Road. That brings us to the end of the Area Forum Action Plan update. But what I would like to say at this point is that the Area Forum Action Plan is really your opportunity to give us ideas how we can improve your local community. So we really want to hear from you. And Matthew, do we have a end of meeting feedback form? Yeah. So use the end of meeting feedback form, but also if you have any suggestions, speak to Matthew or go on to the Let's Talk on the website and put forward your suggestions that we can consider at the next area forum. Is there anything else you would like to add to the area action form plug?
Councillors with ideas.
Email councillors with the ideas. Right, that's that. Right. Agenda item 8 date of the next scheduled meeting, which is my birthday. I'll bring a cake, no problem. So it's Wednesday, the 18th of March. The venue, I believe, is to be confirmed. And then agenda item number 9, any other business which I consider to be urgent? Well, the urgent bit I wanted to consider, I took at the beginning of the meeting, so I have nothing further to add to the agenda. I therefore thank members for attending and residents for attending and the stallholders who were present earlier and are present now for their involvement in this area forum, and I look forward to seeing all of you at the next area forum, and it's good night from us.